3-week long standoff between India and China. This has been the longest standoff between both the Asian giants in more than 3 decades. In this video we will try to see why is China irked and what will be the result of the standoff between both the countries at the Doklam Plateau. Now the main point of focus is Sikkim and Bhutan. To see Sikkim joined India in 1975 as its 22nd state. The Lepcha people are the original inhabitants of Sikkim. Both the Asian giants share nearly 3,500 kilometers long border, in which 220 kilometers lies with Sikkim. Actually, this standoff is nothing but just to prove who is the boss in the region. The philosophy of China is to fight war in the territory of others. So it has acquired the aggressive posture, which is kind of ironic because general identity of Chinese people is not so aggressive. They are sweet people, they are welcoming people. China is in this way surrounding India in a series of projects called as String of Pearls in India's own backyard in Indian Ocean, and also heavily investing in India's neighbor. Now we see next in which all countries China has invested and how much has it invested. Now the first and foremost is China's all-weather friend, our own neighbor Pakistan. CPEC is the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, is the one of the biggest investment from one country into the infrastructure of another country. It is basically a fillip to the dying Pakistani economy. Now you see in Myanmar, China has proposed investment of nearly $10 billion of special economic zone. We can see here proposed pipeline going all the way from China to the port city of Myanmar. In case of investment in Nepal, which is ethnically very similar to India, has common historical background, and China has increased its investment heavily in recent year, nearly $8.3 billion of investment, which includes special economic zone, hydropower unit and international airport. This investment increasing year by year. In case of Sri Lanka, China recently signed a $1.1 billion deal to take 70% stake in Hambantota port. This is kind of concern for India as this will escalate Chinese submarine patrolling in the Indian Ocean. As far as Sri Lanka, you can see in the recent news, Sri Lanka signs Hambantota port deal with China. China has already given a loan of $8 billion and also have promised loan of further $24 billion for the OBOR initiative. Other than deep sea port, it has also developed an international airport in the country. In case of Bangladesh recently took deliveries of a pair of Chinese Ming class Type 035B diesel electric submarine. It is a $203 million deal which took place in 2030, which is basically Bangladesh receiving submarine of 70s decade. And in case of Bhutan, since there are no proper channels between these two countries, still China sends circus acrobats, clowns, actors and footballer to Bhutan. China has been claiming certain areas of India as hers, even going ahead of having Chinese name of certain areas. Now you can see there are 3 sectors between India and China. The western sector, which is basically aligned with Jammu and Kashmir, the middle sector, which is adjacent to Uttarakhand, and the eastern sector. Eastern sector, other than Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim usually happens to be kind of peaceful sector. When we go to the philosophy of aggressive posturing of China, we have to understand the art of war, which clearly states opening of more than one front into the enemy's territory so that one can be negotiated in place of others. This justifies their regular incursion into the Indian territory. Now we'll see few of the recent incidents where China has incurred into Indian territory. Recently, Chinese choppers violated Indian airspaces in Uttarakhand. In other incidences, similar incidences in Sikkim occurred in 2008-2009. Sikkim usually happens to be a peaceful area, but incidences like these have recently increased. In recent news, Chinese troop entered 25 km deep into Indian territory in Ladakh. 2 days back in Ladakh, there was stone pelting by Chinese soldiers on Indian soldiers. Videos have been surfaced. Now we look into the Indian-Bhutan ties. Indian-Bhutan Friendship Treaty of 1949 states that these both nations won't interfere into each other's internal affair. However, Bhutan agreed to let India guide its foreign policy, and both nations would consult each other closely on foreign and defense affairs. It was revised in 2007, and the new treaty replaced the provision requiring Bhutan to take India's guidance on foreign policy with broader sovereignty and not require Bhutan to obtain India's permission over arms import. Neither side should allow use of its territory for misuse of national interest of others. Now we have to see, where did this occur? This occurred in the plateau of Doklam, which is area lying between China's Chumbi Valley to the north, Bhutan's Ha Valley in the east, and India's Sikkim state to the west. It has been depicted as part of Bhutan in the Bhutanese map in 1961, but it is also claimed by China. Now this tri-junction lies here, which can be seen near Nathula Pass, and this whole area lies in the Bhutanese territory. While they were constructing the road, Chinese were taken by surprise at the tri-junction by the Indian Army, which opposed it to their construction of roads. As the 82nd session of Bhutan National Assembly records in June 2004, note, during the 16th round of China-Bhutan boundary talks, it was decided to exchange 1:500,000 scale maps with the respective claims line. The Chinese delegation to the 17th round of border talks in Thimphu did not bring the map with the claim lines. According to the Yadong County claims, all the tri-junction, as you can see here, belongs to China. Now we will see this line which is claimed by Chinese. Why it is claimed by Chinese, we will see in further slide. But you can see here in 1861 map of British era, this plateau is clearly shown under Bhutanese territory. On the ground, however, the Indians have moved in from Dokala to block the Chinese building a road to the Zomperi or Jamperi ridge. This ledge-like structure overlooking the low-lying hills of Bhutan gives a clear overview to the Siliguri corridor. Why is Siliguri corridor important? Because Siliguri corridor is as thin as 17 kilometers at point and called as chicken neck of India, and it is very strategically vital for mainland India to get in contact with northeast of India, and by getting a place at top of Mount Gimpochi, which happens to be the highest ridge and which is supposed to be the part of Bhutan, the narrow Siliguri corridor will come in the direct artillery firing of the Chinese. This is the reason India took this step of blocking construction of highway by the Chinese border security force. Whether China and India will have a war, and if war happens, who shall win, will be dealt in the next video. In scenario of a war, at the present state, Indian army is ready and has edge over China. I'm going to tell few of these things which makes a war more inclined towards India, and why this whole Doklam incident is necessary for India. As you can see, Bhutan has already rejected Beijing's claim that Doklam belongs to China. Bhutanese army, which are 16,000 in numbers, and along with Indian armies, are located higher ground than China at the border at present. Indian artillery can easily target Chinese posts for longer distance as they are basically located on flat plateau. Indian Air Force has recently activated all the forward posts which will help Indian fighter jets to target deep inside Chinese territory. Chinese air bases are located at higher sea level than Indian air bases. This makes them hard to fly with heavy payloads, and Indian superiority fighter jets like Sukhoi 30 MKI can easily fly with heavier loads as Indian air bases are at lower sea level. The military complexes of China are too far away, which shall make a war a very costly affair if it happens right now. China has started making bridge on line of actual control near Ladakh. Its chest thumping is all-time high and threatening every time for war. We'll have to see what happens in state of war. Who is prepared and is position actually going to affect? Is war or skirmish going to be good option for India and China? How a country is going to react in a state of war? Is there any problem in Korean Peninsula or South or East China Sea going to affect this scenario? We shall see those in next video. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you for watching this video.